I guess you're all my name. And I want to say a few things about me. As you know, that I'm MVP for Asia. I was born in Belgrade, but I ended up in Banja Luka, as you heard of. I'm in Bosnia, where I live almost 15 years, and I work in one Swedish Macedonian company called Sivus for 2 years. Well, you know that I'm MEP for Asia, and otherwise I wouldn't be invited on this conference. Besides that, I finished a Master of Engineering in Informational Technology in Serbia. So I guess I'm doing some good stuff for the city. I'm co-leading one user group with my colleague. It is called BLBeat, and you're all invited to join our meeting group. We are now in the mixed mode, what means that we have online presentations with in person. So you can find out on Meetup group, and also you can find us on Facebook. Also, I was a co-organizer of one great conference that was held in Banja Luka on November the 2nd, 2 years ago. It is called INIT, and we hope that we will organize second edition as soon as this situation is calming down. I was a public speaker on some great conferences, such as Mobility Day in Croatia, MS Network here in Bosnia, SQL Saturday, and also I was a speaker on some user groups. But the most important part of my career pathway were the days when I was a former Microsoft student partner. So as a woman, I encourage you to do this journey. It was worth for me. So we will continue with a quick view of content. Today I will talk about brand new .NET MAUI, differences between Xamarin and MAUI, improvements, advantages, and what you need to create a new project in MAUI and how it looks. The reason I chose this topic is because I work on Xamarin project for quite time, but I can say that I haven't tested anything in MAUI. So this presentation is based on valuable information from the internet, and launch event that I watched 2 months ago, yeah, it was in November. So what is .NET MAUI? For those who are not familiar with Xamarin and Xamarin Forms is all about, here is a short historical story. Once upon a time, Xamarin had a different name, owned by several different companies. In 2011, Xamarin, in its current form, was founded by Miguel de Icaza and Nat Friedman. I think I pronounced it okay. With Xamarin, they built a solution with which you can develop cross-platform applications on iOS, Android, and Windows based on .NET and C#. Since developing with Xamarin was all based on the same language, you could share your code across all supported platforms, and those who use it quite a bit. The last piece that wasn't reasonable was the user interface on each platform. In 2014, the Xamarin Forms was released as a solution to overcome that problem. With Forms, Xamarin now introduced an abstraction layer above the different platforms' UI concepts. By the means of C# and XAML, you are now able to declare, for example, a button, entry, and so on. And Xamarin Forms, what they know then know how to render that button on iOS and the same button on Android as well. With this in place, you would be able to reuse up to 99% of your code across all platforms. In 2016, Xamarin was acquired by Microsoft, you know that. And together with this acquisition, most of the Xamarin code became open source and free for everyone to use it under MIT license. After tiny history class, we can continue to MAUI. So MAUI is an acronym for a multi-platform app user interface. It is an evolution of Xamarin Forms, a cross-platform mobile first framework for Android, iOS, and universal Windows platform. Coupled with Visual Studio productivity tools and emulators, .NET and Visual Studio significantly speed up development process for building apps that target the widest possible set of native devices. MAUI improved core of product and faster user interface rendering. If you take a look at .NET MAUI repository, you'll notice the much leaner folder structure that makes us use of multi-targeting, and has a much more consistent naming scheme as compared to Xamarin Forms. So now we will take a look at architecture. So in .NET MAUI app, you can write a code that primarily interacts with .NET MAUI API first, marked as 1. Then .NET MAUI directly consumes the native platform APIs, marked as 3, and app code might directly exercise platform APIs if required, marked as 2. .NET MAUI apps can be written on PC or Mac and compile into native app packages. Android app built using .NET MAUI compile from C# into intermediate language, which is then just in time compiled to a native assembly when the app launches. iOS apps built using .NET MAUI are fully ahead of time, compiled from C# into native ARM assembly code. Mac OS apps built using .NET MAUI use Mac Catalyst, a solution from Apple that brings you iOS app built with user interface kit to develop and augments it with additional app kit and platform APIs as required. Windows apps built using .NET MAUI uses Windows UI library to create native apps that can target the Windows desktop and the universal Windows platform. So some features about in MAUI. .NET MAUI provides class platform APIs for natives, native device features. Here are some good features provided by MAUI. As you can see, access to sensors such as accelerometer, compass, and gyroscope on devices, ability to check the device network connectivity state and detect changes, provide information about the device that app is running on, copy and paste text to the system clipboard between apps, pick single or multiple files from the device. Store data securely as key value pairs, utilize built-in text-to-speech engines to read text from the device, initiate browser-based authentication, flows that listen for a callback to a specific register URL. And .NET MAUI includes support for .NET Hot Reload. Yeah. So Here are some differences. Comparison between MAUI and Xamarin Forms. Here you can see some main differences, and we should start from renderers. Okay. Each visual element, which is basically each element that has a visual representation, has a renderer. First is button. Button is the abstract Xamarin Forms component, which will be translated into a user interface button for iOS and Android button for Android. If you want to do this translation, Xamarin Forms must use a renderer. In this case, the button renderer. What happens inside of that renderer are few things. Actually, two things. Whenever a new button or any other control is created, all the properties are mapped to their native controls. For example, the text on the button is mapped to the right property of the target platform, so it shows up the right way. Whenever a property changes on a button or any other control, the native control is updated as well. So the renderer controls the life cycle of that control. You might decide that you need things to look or act a bit different, or maybe a platform-specific feature that is not implemented in Forms. For those scenarios, you can create a custom renderer. A renderer allows you to inherit from a default renderer and make changes to how the control is rendered on a specific platform. So renderers, or how they call them now, slim renderers or handlers, provide a great approach for customizing the appearance and the behavior of Xamarin control. On the project that we are working on, we are often had a need to implement custom renderer to our code. They can be used for small styling changes or sophisticated platform-specific layout and behavior customization. In .NET MAUI, the renderers that are available right now are taken by handlers. The renderers are re-engineered and built from the ground up to be more performant. The benefit you will get is faster apps out of the box. So, mappers. You might wonder what happened to your custom renderers if you worked with the Xamarin applications. So they will just keep working. We have a new name for them. Also, they are mappers right now. There will be probably be exceptions where it will cause some issues, but the goal here again is to keep everything as compatible as possible. Mapper is a public static dictionary like data type exposed by handlers. If we need custom behavior, we can just map our own function from our application, as we can see that on the slide. The relationship between framework and the platform is now inverted, and all the platform control needs to do is handle the needs of the framework. Not only is this more efficient, but it's more easier to extend or override when needed. The new architecture also makes the platform handlers much more suitable for use by other frameworks such as Fabulous and experiments like Comet and Blazor. Maybe you haven't heard of Fabulous and Comet, but I guess that you have all heard of Blazor. But for those who didn't, Blazor is .NET web framework that runs on any browser. Blazor apps using C# and Razor syntax and HTML. So let's take move on the next slide. multiple design pattern support. Xamarin, we are using MVVM and XAML. These are first class features in .NET MAUI. Developers can now implement the model view update pattern. MVU promotes one-way flow of data and state management along with the code-first development experience, which updates the UI by applying necessary changes. Besides MVVM and MVU, also still there is a reactive UI pattern in Xamarin. So Fabulous and Comet uses MVU pattern. Fabulous is an open source framework based on Elm, which is used for building mobile and desktop applications using functional programming with F#. The idea is to have a state, also called a model, that is immutable and can only be changed through messages that are processed by the update function. Those messages are then sent when user interacts with the application or when external factor happens, such as async request completes push notification and switching between dark and light modes. Each time the state is updated, Fabulous will ask for the matching UI state and will transition between them transparently. I haven't used it yet, but it is clear that there are some advantages over MVM, but that is some other topic. Comet is a modern way of writing cross-platform user interfaces, but it is a proof of concept right now, and there is no official support. Experimental mobile laser bindings enables developer to create a native mobile apps for iOS and Android using .NET and C#. The UI components and behaviors which are based on Xamarin Forms are defined using the Razor syntax. So we can see on the next slide, I wanted to show you how MVU looks like. You can see a comparison between MVU at left side and MVM pattern on the right side. So both MVM and MVU deliver the same native application performance and platform fidelity. Developers will be able to choose which style best suits their performance and use case. Okay, next thing is single project experience. When you take a look at first sight on folder structure, you can see that MAUI looks much better than Xamarin Forms. And you can believe me that because I work with Xamarin quite time, and in Xamarin Forms we need to have a separate project for each platform and also project for share-code, and in .NET MAUI we have an option to work with single project only that can target multiple platforms. Platform-specific directories. In single project, we can still have that under platforms directory, or even have a platform-specific code in a single file by using pre-process directives. You should know that this is not something new. It was a part of .NET 5, but it's okay to mention. Platform support, you can see, you could see on previous slides that there are 4 platforms in folder structure: Android, iOS, Mac Catalyst, and Windows. And minimal support for all dev platforms. You can see on Android it's API 21 or higher, on iOS 10 or higher, Mac OS 10 or higher, using Catalyst. Mac Catalyst, and by the way, with Mac Catalyst you can make a Mac version of your iPad app. Windows Desktop and Universal Windows Platform using Windows UI library. Okay, devices. To run the MAUI application, we need either an emulator or local Android device connected to with our system for mobile application. To run our application on a local Android device, we have to enable the developer settings. On the top, we can see a screenshot of device list in Xamarin, and beyond, it's a brand new organizational device list in MAUI. And I really like new organization. Central asset management. Consequence of constant single project experience is also the need to manage assets in a single project. MAUI accomplished that for PNG and SVG images by doing compilation time image resizing. We can now, we can still have platform-specific resources if we need it, for example, for our other formats. Again, it is not a revolutionary change. MAUI is just integrated resized teaser NT as integrated part of the framework. For those who don't know what is resized teaser NT is, it's a nugget package which allows you to add your source images, image sets to your share code layer project and have them automatically resized for the various display densities or each platform, and includes in your platform specific app head project. Yeah, I remember that I manually resized images a few times with some other tools. It was very time-consuming. Hot reload. Hot reload plugs you in your existing workflow to increase your productivity and save your time. Without hot reload, you have to build and deploy your app every time you want to see XAML change. With hot reload, when you save your HTML file that changes and reflects reflected live in your running app. In addition, your navigation state and data will be maintained, enabling you to quickly iterate on your user interface without losing your place in the app. So hot reload, you will spend less time building and deploying your apps to validate your user interface changes. About hot reload, if you don't know when to check hot reload, on your Visual Studio project, you go on Tools, Options, then on Debugging section and choose .NET Hot Reload and mark first two options. Okay, namespace change. One big difference between Xamarin and MAUI is in namespaces. When you want to create a new app, or especially when the time comes for migration of your app, you will have to change the namespaces. Microsoft is showing some love to Xamarin Forms, so there are new namespaces. It's in System MAUI, System.MAUI. By the way, Xamarin Essentials, the other popular library, will take the same route, and you can find it in System Devices namespace. As you can imagine, this is a quite change and even a breaking change. So the team has every intention of providing you with a transition path or tool that will make the switch from Forms to .NET MAUI as pain-free as possible. Now, I planned to do some demo about migrating app from Xamarin to MAUI, but some things still don't work properly, so we will have to wait for official. On the slide, you can see the link with the .NET MAUI status and evolution, where you can follow the progress. Just to mention, since MAUI is released last month, I guess that we can expect the standard 12-month support to Windows before they stop providing updates. So if someone is using Xamarin in production and have apps in the store, you're going to want to consider your upgrade plans, because potentially November 2022 Xamarin will be unsupported. I wanted to show you. How basic app in MAUI looks like, but I have to connect my microphone and disconnect my telephone, so nothing from that. Visual Studio 2022, sorry, preview. If you want to install it, you'll need to get version 17.1 preview from November 16, because previous version of Visual Studio have some issues. I had a problem with some missing template, and you have to manually add it from console. So this version is okay. When you install it, you know that you have three versions of Visual Studio: Community, Professional, and Enterprise. And you already know that Community is a free version. As for supported operating systems, you can install Visual Studio 2022 on 64-bit machines with Windows 11. Editions are Home, Pro Education, Pro Workstation, Enterprise, and Education are supported. Also, it's supported Windows 10. Version 19.9 or higher, editions Home, Professional, Education, and Enterprise. You must also meet some basic system requirements, like 1.8 gigahertz or faster processor and quad-core or better processor, and you should know that ARM processors are not supported. Minimal is 4 gigabytes of memory. Installation on hard disk will require 20 to 50 gigabytes of free space, and your video card will need a wide extended graphic array with minimal resolution 1316 by 768. During the installation of Visual Studio, you will have to choose a mobile development with .NET to get the MAUI template. Okay, so there is no demo for this session, and we came to the end. I just wanted to mention that I found much information from these links. Also, you can find it. So this presentation was like a little journey to me, an introduction to something that is waiting for me when I migrate my application from Xamarin to MAUI. I have to say that I was very excited and challenging to collect all this information for a short period and do this presentation on English. So this is my first presentation on English, actually. I hope this presentation will help you, like it helped me to better understand how MAUI is working and what to expect in the future. So you have a contact here on the slides. You can